Hello and welcome once again to Supporters Club Live, an exclusive show for you wonderful supporters groups around the world. Today's is a little bit more exclusive as well because we are focusing on the 500 and 1,000 supporters group. So thank you so much for your continued support. Now, as you may be able to see behind me, I'm lucky enough to say I'm at the Cobham training ground. First time back down here for a while. Always a pleasure to be here. And it's certainly a pleasure to speak to all of you once again today because we are focusing on the all-conquering Chelsea women's team. Coming up, an array of very special guests. We'll have Hannah Blundell and Drew Spence joining us here on the call to answer your questions. We'll also be speaking to the legend that is Claire Rafferty as well. Now, thank you to all of you who've taken the time to post your comments and your questions so far. If you haven't done so already, please do not worry, plenty of time to do so. You can do it by just popping it in the comments box here on this live stream. Now, on the subject of legends, it's apropos that we're bringing our very first special guest, the one and only Caroline Buckland. I'm delighted to have worked with Kaz over the past few seasons here at Chelsea. She has a huge role within the marketing department. She's overseen the revamp of the supporters club network that we've been speaking about already. She's also been instrumental in all the fantastic work that we do with that Junior Blues initiative as well. And she doesn't have to work hard as well behind the scenes at Stamford Bridge as we gear up for those games at the Bridge for the Premier League games and also all the other competitions as well. Kaz, it's a delight to see you once again. First up, how are things? How are you keeping?
Yeah, thank you, Lee. Lovely intro. I'm very well, thank you. The sun's shining with you and it's shining here as well, which is always good to see. So very excited to be here on another episode of Supporters Club Live. Don't
jinx the weather. It will be snowing before we finish. You know it will. I have to say, by the way, apologies. I'm not a cameraman. You can tell by the lighting set up here, but we've made the best of it, haven't we? It's a busy time, isn't it, for all of us, especially you guys in the marketing division. How are things for you with regards to the fan engagement group and the wider sort of marketing perspective?
Yeah, you're right. It's very busy, but it's very good. Very exciting time for us at the moment. We're coming into, the business end of the season. Both the men's and the women's teams are finding such strong form. Lots to play for, lots of very important games coming up. And we are gearing up for hopefully the managed return of fans as well at the end of this season and into next year, which is very exciting for us, something that we've been looking forward to for a considerable period of time, as I'm sure the rest of the world has as well. So lots going on, very busy and very exciting for us as a team.
Absolutely. You mentioned the fans there. Now, today's show is very special, as we alluded to there, because we're focusing on the official 500 and 1,000 supporters clubs as well. Tell us how key, how important they are, and also what you've got planned for them for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, this season has been like no other, really. There are certain things and benefits that we were able to offer previously that we've simply not been able to, the way that the world has had to adapt this year. So, for example, we used to take legends into market or host physical activations that we've simply not been able to do, and this group would have benefited from those. So we got together as a team and we looked at what we could deliver that would be exclusive and exciting for these clubs, and offer them the chance to speak directly to key influential people at the club as a different and new reward. This particular group of clubs, so the 500 and 1,000 groups, it's actually a relatively small group in our sort of top highest tiers, and therefore we've put on this additional show for them, which is a way to reward all of the members of all of those clubs, rather than in previous seasons where we may have had to hold a competition or a selection process for one of the clubs to win a prize. So this feels like a kind of nice, intimate group that have the chance to speak, directly with the club through these webinars. And I guess in terms of what we have planned for them and for the wider scheme in the remainder of the season, we've had a real focus on improving communication within the network. So very soon we're rolling out the ability for the club secretaries to contact all their members directly. We are significantly improving the chat functionality in the app. And very recently, we've launched a WhatsApp group as well for the club secretaries of these 500 and 1,000 clubs, for them to talk about their supporters group, share best practice ideas, etc., and hopefully go from strength to strength. We've also got, this is a very exciting one, we've got merchandise packs that are posted out next week. That'll be going to over 250 clubs. This particular group will receive the largest boxes of goodies. Hasn't been without its challenges this year, so hopefully they will be very well received. And then a couple of other updates in the background, working on a new information hub for club secretaries, working with partners on some charitable opportunities, and finally launching some sort of smaller focus groups with members of clubs just to hear a little bit more about how we can improve the scheme next year. So lots going on, to summarise.
Unbelievable. Certainly is. Lots going on. Today we are focusing, as we mentioned at the top of the show, on the phenomenal Chelsea women's team. Tell us a bit more why we're doing that.
Yeah, sure. There's a number of reasons that we wanted to feature the women's team on one of our Supporters Club Live episodes. We actually did a survey after a couple of the first episodes that we did, and asked the Supporters Club Network what they wanted to learn more about. And that really indicated to us that there was a big interest in learning more about the women's team. And aside from that, the women's game and how it's progressing is a huge priority for the club. Not only are the women's team currently having a phenomenal season, but the investment into women's football has seen significant improvements in the last 12 months, making it a really exciting time to sort of shine a spotlight on it. What I mean by that is recently Sky and the BBC announced a multi-million-pound per season broadcast deal for the women's game, which is the first time a centralised deal has been done for women's football with that level of investment. Comes at a time ahead of the Women's Euros next year, which takes place in the UK. And then from sort of Chelsea's side specifically, I guess continuing that off the pitch theme, we are a driving force for the development and the progression of the game. We recently announced N+1 Singers women's only team sponsorship. That was the first for us as a club, with branding going on the back of the shorts. Hopefully that's the start of more commercial deals to come. We are attracting the best talent. So in the last sort of 18 months to 2 years, made huge signings, with Sam Kerr, Pernilla Harder, some of the top and the best players in the world coming to us. And then also we have a marketing and communications team here at Chelsea who are solely dedicated to actually driving awareness and selling tickets to our women's games, which is actually very significant in the world of football marketing. And now that we own Kingsmeadow Stadium, we do consistently lead in terms of those weekly attendance numbers when it's looked at against the rest of the league. So I guess when you sort of combine all of that with the on-pitch activity, I've mentioned we're having a fantastic season, held the longest run of unbeaten games in the WSL with a 32-match unbeaten streak. And the team are well on their way to what could be the treble or the quadruple this season. And Chelsea were also actually the driving force behind the league and other clubs playing games at men's stadiums in showcase events, working really hard with the FA in pushing that initiative through with other clubs following suit as well. So I suppose with all of that being said, it's very clear that the club is very dedicated, very invested in the women's team and will continue to be so for years to come. Not just for Chelsea, but the actual progression of the overall game as well, which makes it an excellent topic really for today's Supporters Club Live audience, just to learn a little bit more about.
You could not have set this up any better, Kaz. Thank you so much. I think it's about time we get into our next special guest as well. But for now, as ever, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you so much for your time, Kaz.
Oh, thank you so much. And I'd like to extend that thank you to the official 500 and 1,000 supporters clubs for continuing to build the programme. Your fantastic work around the world does not go unrecognised. And it's great to see that in some places we are seeing restrictions easing and, events and get-togethers finally starting to happen. So I very much look forward to seeing more of them as and when they are allowed.
Very well said. We all echo those sentiments, of course. Kaz, thank you so much indeed for your time. Okay, next up, let's hear from a true Chelsea legend, the one and only Claire Rafferty, who actually was here as a player between the years of 2007 through to 2018. She pretty much won it all, WSL titles, FA Cups. Since retiring, she's taken up another role behind the scenes here at Chelsea Football Club, which we'll get into in a few moments' time. She's also a pretty good pundit as well. You may have seen her co-hosting the Instagram live shows with us down at Kingsmeadow as well. But as I said, she is everywhere. She's on Chelsea TV, she's on BBC, she's on BT, she's on Sky Sports News as well. Let's take a look. And here she is, my old partner in crime. How are you, Raf? Good to see you.
Good to see you, Lee. How you doing? Fantastic view you've got there.
It's good, isn't it? I'll tell you what, bit of
Very
sun.
nice. Not as nice as mine, though.
It's my first time back here for a while, so I'm no, it's good to be back. It's good to be back. How you keeping?
Yeah, not bad. I've got my kit on. I feel like I'm ready to go. I think the pitch behind you inspired me to get this out of the cupboard.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the women's pitches, for those not that you can see, are a couple of fields down there, aren't they? From your recent.
Yeah, they're just slightly further on, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Tell us about the current group. We're going to get onto your illustrious career in a minute, but tell us about the current group and just how well they're doing.
Yeah, you know what? I'm actually in awe of them. I think they just keep on performing, don't they? Scoring, they're entertaining us. I feel like I can't get enough of them. And what I'm really enjoying is the fact that they're playing with smiles on their faces and enjoying their football. And it's just a pleasure to watch. You know, the likes of Frank Kirby, you know, we know she's going to be scoring goals if she's smiling. So I think it just goes hand in hand. Yeah, it's been incredible, hasn't it?
It really has. I mean, we've done some Instagram live shows together, haven't we? We were there for the Brighton game. But before that, I mean, that incredible unbeaten streak. Something special, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's something that's just kind of a demand now. The culture of the whole club, isn't it? Very much win. And keep reinventing yourself. And I think that's what Emma Emma really tries to install in the staff and in the players. And I think since she's arrived, she really has driven that in. I remember when she first came, it was very much, you know, if you don't have these attributes, you're not going to make it. And then she keeps pushing and testing. And I think that's just credit to how every single season the team has progressed.
It's a really good point, because that winning mentality is evident, isn't it? And you mentioned that the team progressing. We've seen some big additions, haven't we, with Sam Kerr, Pernilla Harder, to name just but two. Melanie Leopold, of course, coming in. The strength and depth is frightening.
It really is. And, you know, you start naming them off and you kind of forget sometimes the talent that we've got in the squad. You know, the likes of Marin, who's been there, feels like an age now as well. Beth coming through. It's amazing. Obviously, Sam Kerr and El Harder, that they're the headlines, and what they bring to the team for me is like it's a class, and they're small details. They really try and implement them, and it's the training sessions, raising the standards of everyone around them, demanding more, and yeah, I think it is that whole winning mentality. When you've got someone who's that good and you're training against them, you do want to up your game. I remember I was in training and, you know, trying to mark Frank Kirby. In the end, I was just like, oh, you just do what you want. But I think that made me want to improve and want to get better and make sure I was making sure that the small details. So I think you've seen that level in training improve, and then on the pitch it improves.
Absolutely. What a career you have as well, which we'll come on to in a minute. But obviously, since hanging up your boots, you've got a very different role at the club now, haven't you? I wanted to get into that because in line with the progression on the pitch, we've seen progression off the pitch as well, with sponsorship deals, the N+1 Singer deal that I know you're obviously very sort of key to getting over the line. Tell us how important that is.
Yeah, so as you said, I've joined a commercial team after retiring, and my role is very much about bringing new partners on board. And look, the club has made an intent and a statement. It's quite groundbreaking. They're the first sponsor of the women's, and that is so amazing to see and to be a part of that, especially how long I've been involved in the club. I feel very proud about it. But I think the overarching kind of goal here is to make sure that we as Chelsea and as women's football are valuing the women's teams commercially and not undervaluing them or chucking them in with men's rights. And the main point is the fact that, you know, there's amazing role models. The story and the narrative that you can tell around these players and staff. You know, Emma Hayes herself is fantastic. I think it's that meaningful purpose that is really kind of key to why N+1 Singer was so fantastic and such a great fit.
Absolutely. Are you enjoying the role? Because you always had that business acumen, didn't you, during your playing career? Is it something that you found easy to sort of adapt into?
Yeah, it's something that I always wanted to do. I wanted to get into the business side of football because I wanted to be able to keep on helping or keep on inputting some way. And yeah, I worked for Investment Bank before whilst I was playing, and I always wanted to switch into the business side of football. I mean, it's a lot more interesting than investment banking. No offense to anyone in investment banking who's listening. But it has been difficult. Yeah, it has. Obviously, playing football, I sit down a lot more, which is not fun. But I think I miss like the camaraderie of the girls. But the new challenges I face, it's been a hurdle, but I think it's been fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. We touched on obviously the deals off the field. I wanted to ask you about the TV deal that was announced recently. Well, that's going to be a huge marker for the women's game moving forward, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all about the profile and getting the eyeballs watching. You know, we want to be able to turn our TVs on and see the players. I think the biggest thing for me is a young boy turning on the TV and being able to actually see the fact that they can be a women's footballer, or that it's normal and it's okay to be a women's footballer. And that is the biggest thing. I didn't have that when I was young. I couldn't turn on the TV and watch women's football. And so what the impact that's going to have on the next generation is something that I'm really excited about, because the more girls play football, the bigger the talent pool. And I think it just keeps growing and growing and growing.
It's a really interesting point, that, because I mean, obviously you're in the best position to say this. I guess, how has the game evolved since you came through the ranks a few years ago?
Yeah, make me feel old. Like,
just a few years.
I think when the WSL started, the FA wanted to implement this structure where it was, professionalised, but that professional level took a while to actually get to the level that it is now. Some teams slower than others. Chelsea are quite fortunate because obviously the investment from the owner and the respect that they gave the women's team. But the biggest change for me has been when the London 2012 Olympics that I went to. That for me has always stuck in my mind as being catalyst for change and a change in opinion. And I think that change in opinion was because more people watched it. And so the more people are watching it, the more people are like, oh, this is good, I want to watch it again. So I think it's just a rolling catalyst effect. So yeah, it's unrecognisably from where it was. And you'll know as well, you've been in and around us for as long as I've been there, a lot longer. I won't make you feel like that. But to see it now, it's hard to recognise, but it's quite touching to actually be involved and watch that landscape grow.
No, absolutely. Really well said. We've got two of your mates, Drew Spence and Hannah Blundell, in the waiting room. They'll be coming on in a moment. What can we expect from them? Keep it clean.
Late, probably. They'll be late. So that's what you can expect from them. Yeah, you know what? Hannah and Drew, they're really good friends of mine. And they call themselves the OGs, the originals, because they've been there from back in the day. And I think it's really important, actually, to kind of have that mix of the experience of what Chelsea stands for and the role they play in teaching the players that are coming in. There's no doubt that Drew Spence and Hannah Blundell will be telling Sam Kerr about what it means to play for Chelsea. Yeah. And yeah, I think it's important. It's so important for them. And yeah, tell them I said hi.
I certainly will. I'm going to bring up the OGs as well. Before we get to the girls, we're going to get to some fan questions as well. As you can imagine, they've been flooding in from all corners of the globe, Claire. Owusu, quite well, Isaac from the Sunyani Official Supporters Club asked, where do you see women's football progressing to in the next 5 to 10 years?
I want to see sell-out stadiums, 40,000 every single week. I want to see sustainability. And I think that, in my eyes, I think commercial sustainability, brands investing. I want to see kind of the buzz around. I want to see girls and boys wearing women's shirts. And I think there's no cap on where it can go. The game got banned, didn't it, 100 years ago? So I think incredible. We're always playing catch up. And the growth that we've made in 2 years is amazing. So imagine in 10 years. It's exciting.
It certainly is. Talking about growth, Lauren James from the New York Blues is about to put under a bit of pressure here. She asks, do you think Chelsea will win the Champions League this season, taking their performances into consideration? No pressure.
Yes. I didn't even have to think, Nelly. I really, really think that I've got a gut feeling, I don't want to jinx it, but I think the performances have been, they've shown so much character.
Yeah.
There's been luck involved. There's been penalty misses and penalty scores. It's been crazy, hasn't it? But I think at the end of every single game, what you take away is the character that the team has shown. And to win a Champions League, it's not all about, the best team on the pitch. It's about who's got the most character. So I've got a really good gut feeling. I'm going to say yes.
Like that. Time for one more from Sarah Malone from the Dublin Official Supporters Club. And Sarah says, Claire, you're a great inspiration to many. I agree with that. What tips can you give people to lead such a successful career both on and off the pitch?
I think it's probably the same kind of mentality that has been installed in me from playing for Chelsea. Remember, just always looking to improve, never kind of settling for the bare minimum and always trying to push yourself, I guess. And also one big thing is failings is a part of success. The amount of setbacks I've had, injuries, failures, own goals, they make you. So I think actually failing is important to a successful career, both on and off the pitch.
Very, very well said. Claire, we could talk for hours. I know that. I'm going to let you go in a minute because we're bring on two of your young mates in Drew Spence and Hannah Blundell. Thanks to all of you who've submitted your questions so far. Please do continue to do so via the comments section on this live stream. For now, though, Raf, thank you so much indeed. Let's tee up our next two special guests, shall we? They are the OGs, as Raf so rightly said. Let's have a look at some of their recent successes, including back-to-back Conti Cup victories.
At the back post, and it was knocked out towards Pep England, who's made it 1-0 to Chelsea. Williamson's there again, and finally they've done it. England's a mark at the back post. She's waiting for it. She's got it. England's won it for Chelsea. They completed the set. The waiting is over. History made in Nottingham.
Kirby tight angle, Kerr, tap in, 1-0 already. Kerr, and it's 2. Look at that for a celebration, spectacular. Kirby, the lob's on, the lob is in. There's a pass on to Fleming, she didn't need it, it's in, it's 4. Cup final hat-trick, Sam Kerr. Oh, it's a brilliant pass instead, and Guro Wright has made it 6. Brilliant goal. 4 in the quarter-final, 6 in the semi-final, and 6 more in the final. It's Chelsea's day at Vicarage Road. 6-0 winners in the final over Bristol City.
Drew Spence, and there's 3-0.
I've been here since Emma and Paul and everyone came in. The goal was always to be the best team in Europe, and we're nearly there.
And here they are, Hannah Blundell, Drew Spence, via a couple of little technical glitches, but we've ironed those out. Ladies, it's fantastic to see you both. Drew, I'm going to come to you first. I mean, it's the international break, I guess, a chance to catch a rare breath in this incredible season. But take us back to last weekend and that phenomenal win over Birmingham. Over 100 goals scored now this year. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, it was a good game before the break, and we've struggled with those games in between Champions League, but I think we got a good start, and yeah, it's great to get 6 goals, and now we're over 100 goals for the season, so perfect to sign off before the break.
Not a bad way to do it. Hannah, good to see you as well. How are you? How's the fitness? Because obviously you've been, rehabbing that injury, and it's been a stubborn one for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, no, thankfully it's all been fine. Luckily, obviously, physios and that kept me sane, I guess. But no, thankfully it's all been fine. I've been fit now for a few months now, really. So yeah, it's been good. And it's just making sure now I can sort of try and get some more minutes here and there when I can.
Absolutely. I think we spoke after the Villa game, didn't we? I mean, the WSL season is going from strength to strength. Let's talk about the Champions League as well. I mean, Bayern Munich now in the semi-finals. What an opportunity this could prove to be.
Go on, Drew.
I'm sorry, I didn't know. He didn't say. No, yeah. It's obviously our second time to the semi-finals, and we were so close last time to get to the final, and we've played Bayern Munich before, and what a amazing tie that was, both home and away. So thankfully we're there again, and we have full belief in our squad and full belief in the team. So yeah, we're just focused on getting to the final now, and then hopefully getting to the final and winning it. That's always been the aim. It's been the aim for years now. So we just got to get to that last hurdle.
Absolutely. And Hannah, we were speaking to Claire Rafferty a few moments ago. We were talking about Emma Hayes and her winning mentality, and she just never will accept second best, will she? She always wants the best, to push. How important is that in such a competitive group that you have at the moment?
Oh, definitely. I think obviously with the years that she's been at the club, that's sort of been at the front of her mind. With obviously the players she's brought in winners as well. And especially obviously this season as well, we've obviously made no doubt about it that Champions League is the trophy we want this year. And of course, we're on track to do that at the moment, obviously with the semi-final coming up. But obviously it's nice with Emma having that winning mentality. It kind of goes off onto all of us as well, which is good. And I think obviously the trophies that the club has now, again, is obviously a credit to the players and the staff at the club.
Absolutely. And Drew, just on that, when we spoke to Rafa a few minutes ago, she referred to you guys rightly as the OGs, because you've been here for such a long time, haven't you? You've both developed throughout the centre of excellence here at the club. How important has that learning experience been for you?
Yeah, it's been massive. I think I've had so many ups and downs throughout my time at Chelsea, and it's grown me as a player. And Emma bringing in, like Hannah said, bringing in top quality, world-class players. You have to improve your game every day and every season. Emma's going to bring in a few more players, so you have to step up to that another level. So yeah, it's been a great experience so far, and we're on track to do what we wanted to do since Emma come in. So hopefully we can do that.
Absolutely. And Hannah, Drew touched on it there. I mean, I guess both on and off the field, how much have you seen this club change during your time here at Chelsea?
Oh, massively. I think obviously a few years ago when we first started out, we didn't even have our own building. We were sharing with obviously the foundation of the club, whereas now we've actually got our own building, our own pitch. The facilities obviously that we've got are outstanding, and we've just gone from strength to strength every season, which I think of course has helped us obviously win trophies. But again, like Emma says, like she never settles. She always wants more, always wants to push Chelsea and obviously the women's game as well. So I think it's obviously been so nice as well to be a part of that, from where we first started out to where we are now. The improvement is just amazing, and yeah, I'm very proud to be a part of that.
And rightly so. And Drew, this webinar is all about our fantastic supporters groups. Obviously, we all miss them down at Kingsmeadow because of circumstances out of our control. How important are the supporters to the success of this fantastic football club?
Yeah, they're massive, and we've missed them so much over this season, especially in big games at home when they feel like our 12th women when we're out there. So it's been tough, but we're just trying to do everything we can to pick up as many trophies as we can, for not only for us but for them, you know.
Absolutely, well said. And Hannah, I mean, I know you've always had such a fantastic bond with the Chelsea supporters. It can't come soon enough, can it, getting them back at Kings Meadow?
No, honestly, I think obviously it would have been nice to have them back, of course, at the end of this season. And like Drew said, with the trophies, we're not only doing it for ourselves, but for them. We're trying to obviously include them as much as we can, wherever we can, and doing stuff like this obviously helps sort of interact with them, then to interact with us, because of course it's been a tough time. But no, it's nice to hopefully see them back very soon, and then sort of, yeah, cheering us along the way and then winning more trophies with them.
Let's hope so. Very well said. And obviously we want you guys watching this live right now to interact with us. Get your questions, get your comments in via the comment section here on this live stream. Speaking of which, the perfect segue. Damien's been in touch from Damien Turner from the Kings Meadow Official Supporters Club. And he says, hi from Kings Meadow Official Supporters Club. We can't wait to get back to the stadium soon. Our question is, what's been the best match that you've played in for Chelsea so far? Drew, let's come to you first.
I think the best one I've played was probably the FA Cup final at Wembley against Arsenal. Yeah, was on fire that season, and I think we just dominated the game from minute one to the end. And it's always good to beat your rivals and make sure London stays blue. So that was probably my favourite game.
Rightly so. Well said. How about you, Hannah? Is there a game that stands out for you so far?
There's probably one that does for me, probably only because I score and I don't score that often. It's the PSG, of course, the PSG game at home in the Champions League. Yeah, I really enjoyed that performance. I thought going into the game, obviously we were confident, and we knew obviously PSG being a top club, it would be tough. And to come away with a 2-0 win, it definitely obviously helped my confidence. I think the team's confidence. And yeah, I think that performance for me probably stands out.
Absolutely. Many more to come. Okay, Brenda Darcy from the Atlanta Blues is about to put you under a bit of pressure. Brenda says, just want to say it's been a real pleasure this season supporting you all, and what a fantastic season it has been for you all. Do you think that both the men's and women's teams can win the Champions League? Over to you, Drew. No pressure.
Yeah, why not? I think, I don't know if any other teams ever done it before, but what a historic moment that would be for both the men's and women's to not only get to the final but to win it. So obviously you see the men had a good result last night, and we got the semi-final come up, so why not?
Why not, indeed. Would you agree with that, Hannah?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it would be nice to be, especially the first club, I think, to do it both women's and men's. So yeah, we'll definitely be pushing and of course cheering the men on.
Absolutely. Right, the next question comes from Alwyn Donnell from the Derry Donegal Supporters Club. I get the feeling if you don't answer Claire Rafferty to this, someone's going to be upset. Which Chelsea player, present or past, would you say you learned from the most?
Well, that one's a tricky one.
You can have a couple, Drew. You can pick a couple.
I'll say Raf, because she will actually go mad.
She's on the phone now. She's literally about to
She's about to text me after saying, what are you not picking me for? No, yeah, I'll say Raf and Eni. I think when I came in, I was obviously a youngster, and to have older people to aspire to playing at international level, and I think they always was a friend to me on and off the pitch. So yeah, they helped me loads throughout my career, and I can still call them up now, and if I need advice or anything. So there's a massive part of my my Chelsea career.
Absolutely. How about you then, Hannah? Would you concur? Are there any other players that you sort of looked up to for maybe a bit of advice along the way?
Yeah, I'd definitely say them too. Even like Raf now, get the odd text here and there, bless her. And I'd probably say one of Kaz Carney. She was obviously so, like, she had a good head on her shoulders, especially whilst playing. She was always one to make sure, obviously, players were either doing their job or where she could help, she would. So for me, Kaz Carney as well. She was definitely a good one.
Doing a great job as a pundit at the moment as well, isn't she, Kaz?
Yeah, she's flying.
Really, really good.
Yeah.
Really good. Okay, next question comes from Ali and Tiabi from the Accra Blues Official Supporters Club. And he asks, sorry, who is your best friend or friends in the team? Over to you, Drew. You've got to say her now, haven't you?
I haven't got a choice. No, obviously, Han, we've been doing it from college. So, Han, we're close with Jess Carter. We've been with G for so many years now. So, and Katrin Berger as well. So that's probably our closest people in the team. But I mean, it's quite a close knit group. So we all get along, and we've all been with each other for many years now. So you bond those friendships along the way.
Absolutely, it's a terrific group, isn't it? How about you, Hannah? I mean, actually, before I ask you this, tell us about the OGs then. For those of us that don't know, where did this come from?
It started from, I'd probably say, 2014 or 15, maybe?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
I think so, yeah. And literally OG is just obviously like the originals. So as I said, like obviously Raf was a part of that, and then she retired, so she's out of there now.
Ruthless.
Yeah, like obviously me and Drew been there from the beginning, so we're the OGs now.
And Carly as well. You can't forget Carly.
Oh yeah, CT as well.
Like whatever you say, you're going to get in trouble.
Yeah,
it's going to be red hot. Next question comes from Ryan Kafir from the Bangladesh Official Supporters Club, who asks, I would like to ask, what is your favourite TV show? Do you get a chance to watch much TV? Over to you, Drew, first.
My favourite at the moment is probably Line of Duty. Just came back out, so invested in that one.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Wise choice. How about you, Hannah? How much TV do you get the chance to watch?
I'm so busy, I don't get to watch that much.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. I have quite a few, to be fair. I love the likes of like Grey's Anatomy, all of that sort of stuff. So yeah, a good series for me.
Grey's Anatomy, you'll get on very well with my wife. Next question comes from John McCormack from the Dublin Official Supporters Club. It ties in actually with what we were talking about earlier about the supporters not being at games. How does it feel for you and the other players to be playing in empty stadiums now, and how excited are you to have fans back next season, hopefully? Come to you, Hannah.
Go on, how you go?
Sorry, Drew. Sorry.
No, that's fine. How do you take it?
Yeah, obviously it's gutting. I think, as you can tell, we've got a big fan base now. So for us, it's been so nice, obviously, previously to have them in. And like Drew said, they were the 12th player for us. So I think that's probably what makes it more exciting for them to come back in, and obviously makes it more enjoyable, hopefully, for them, because it's been a long time since they've been in stadiums. So yeah, like I said, it's exciting for us, and hopefully it'll be sooner rather than later.
Let's hope so. True. I mean, Hannah's covered it there, but I mean, how is it for you? How challenging is it to play in empty stadia?
Yeah, I think it took quite a while to get used to it. It's like you can hear a pin drop in the stadium. Used to when, they got flags flying and they're singing songs. So it was hard to get used to. And like Hannah said, we can't wait for them to be back sooner rather than later, because they really do make a difference for us.
Absolutely. Very well said. This next question's a good one. It's going to get you in a bit of trouble. From Mohammed Razi from the Kerala Official Supporters Club. Firstly, best wishes for the Champions League semi-final. Now, who from the current squad of players do you think would become a great gaffer in the future? Go on, Hannah.
I'd have to say Magda. Yeah, Magda, to be fair. Yeah. I think you can tell from obviously the way she captains the team. You can just tell she's a born leader. She likes to make sure standards are high, but she also has that side of her as well where you can have a laugh and a joke. She knows the balance, which is good. I think as a captain, you don't really want to be too serious. She's approachable, which is good, and I think you need that as a manager.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing with her, isn't it, Drew? She's very cool, calm and collected. There's so many big personalities in this group. Who are the standout characters from your side?
Obviously, G's always been a character ever since she joined us. Sam's a massive character now. She came in. She's a bit of a crazy one, but we have loads, and you can even put Erin Cuthbert into that bracket. But yeah, we have a good balance of people that are a bit crazy, but then people that are a bit on the more normal side, you like to say. So we have a good balance.
Crazy in a good way, of course.
Yeah,
but unfortunately, we could talk all night, guys, but I'm going to get you in trouble if I keep going down this road. So, thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure, Hannah and Drew. Best of luck for the Champions League, for the WSL, and everything that comes with it in the forthcoming weeks and months of this incredible season. It's been a real pleasure, and thank you to all of you guys around the world for watching. It's been a great laugh for the last 40 minutes. Thank you for all your questions and comments, and we look forward to our next exclusive Supporters Club live show for all of you fantastic supporters groups around the world. Bye for now.